Yeah, right. I got
Um,
to learn to slow down too. I get it.
that's okay. I mean, you're like me. I'm the same way because we got a lot to do. But I
Right.
mean, why don't we just record the call and then I can go back through
Done.
it?
Done.
Um, or maybe if you listen to yourself and maybe bullet points from that too. But you may not
Right.
have time to do that because you know kind of what's coming up and what you're saying. I
Right.
have no clue.
Right.
It's all new for me
Got it.
every time.
Yeah. So I'm recording the call. Let's just go through what I gave as a script to every one of the clients that walked through my door.
Okay.
So this conversation literally should not take more than 10 to 15 minutes, if that.
Okay.
And based on what you and I talked about last week and how quickly your team needs to cycle through your referrals, I think 15 to 30 minutes should be ample amount of time to be able to handle the volume of business that you want that you want them to handle, so that you don't have to get engaged in that part of the process.
Got it. Agree.
Am I on the same
That's
page?
agree. Yeah. And sometimes, these people may have already applied, but whether they've
Sure.
applied or not, I think the
Nope.
expectation
Here,
script needs to be the
it's real.
same.
Yep. And here's what it's going to be. So first one is build rapport.
Okay.
The building rapport is always ask what the referral source said to them that made them feel and want to call you.
Okay.
Why are you laughing?
Because you're trying
Because
to
what?
talk slow. Because you're trying to talk slow, and I feel like I've taken your recording and slid it back. What did the referral
Yep,
source
I know.
say
Right.
to
Yep.
make, what was the last part of that? What did the referral source say
What did the referral source say to them
to them?
that made
Okay.
them want to call you?
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And then
Here's,
listen.
here's the power behind this little intricacy. Once you get somebody talking to you about what they like about you,
Mm-hmm.
it takes all of your having to sell yourself to them out the window. They're selling themselves on you simply by repeating what the other person said to them, because if whatever they're saying to you, they're repeating what they heard and that resonated with them, and that's why they're talking to you.
Okay, what if they say, because some of this is going to be like, what if Michelle's calling them? She would just
Yep,
say, what did they say about Holly and her team that made you want to call us, correct?
exactly, exactly.
Okay, what if they say, well, she didn't really just tell me anything, she just gave me a list of 3 names and you're one of the 3.
Okay. Then A, you need to understand that that's the dynamic that you're about to enter into. You're
Okay.
going after, see, so what this is going to do is it's going to set you on a path of, am I really working with a referral or am I working with a lead? And
Mm-hmm.
there's
Okay.
where you're going to have to define how you handle both. This conversation is more or less driven around a referral, whereas
Okay.
a lead is you're just going to have to go right into selling, because at that point, unless you're prepared to have the rest of this conversation that I'm about to outline for you, unless you're prepared to be able to take that and go, well, that's great. I always think that you should have options. Let me
Mm-hmm.
tell you why our clients use us from what we've heard from other, from our other clients.
Okay.
Okay, so the rapport is this one little part of the conversation. Not only do you hear all the positives that the person on the other end of the phone is saying to you, it elevates their excitement to be a part of it, but B, they're telling you exactly what you need to do to hit on their expectations without even realizing it.
Okay.
Michelle said that we should call you because you guys do an awesome job at communicating. Huh. An awesome job at communicating. Must make sure we follow up with them every single time consistently. #1 priority for this client. That's a note that you get passed on to the rest of the file through the entire process. See, when somebody says that they love the part that you communicate high and you were available and you made sense of everything, now you know who you have to invest the time and energy explaining all the details to. So they're telling you what they need from you without even
Right.
realizing it.
Okay.
It gives you a chance to build a rapport, because then at that point it can be, that's awesome. That's one of the reasons we love working with Michelle, is because she's such a great communicator, and it's because she's so on top of things. And all you do is say whatever they've said to you, you follow it back around, and you refer it back to the referral source and say, those are all the same qualities about so-and-so that we love working with her. So anytime we have a client that's referred by her, it puts it in perspective where we really love that kind of mindset. You see?
Mm-hmm.
Instantaneous credibility, and instantaneously you have differentiated yourself against the next loan officer that they may or may not be shopping you against.
Okay.
So far, so good?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What did you just hear me say?
That basically, like, if they say, I mean, just role play with me for a second.
So, hey, Holly. Michelle said that I should call you and said, hi, Holly. This is Doug Catteray. Michelle Morrison asked me to give you a call. I need to buy a house, and she said that I should call you.
Sorry, my mind went blank. I thought you were going to say something different. Okay. So, what did Michelle say that made you want to call me?
Oh, you know what? Michelle said that you guys are really, really on top of your game. Like, you have amazing follow-up, and that you guys are just there and held their hand through the entire process, and said that you guys are the best.
And you know what, Michelle, by choosing her for your agent, that is what she does. She is so detail-oriented. She is going to hold your hand through the entire process, make sure you understand everything. And, I mean, you just really chose a rock star in Michelle.
Wow. How does that sound when you say it?
I mean, that's easy, but then what would I say after that?
Now we enter into the next part of the conversation.
Okay.
The next bullet point is the permission to reject.
Okay.
See, I want this out of the way in the beginning. I want this out of the way. Once they've sung your praises, that gives you the freedom to go, okay, we've built a business on a very, very relationship-based mindset. It's not for everybody. We understand that we are a really good mortgage operation. We run a really good practice, and we work with a lot of great people, but we're very selective on the people that we choose to work with, and here's why. When you build your business on relationships, it's vitally important that we are able to meet every one of our clients' goals and expectations, and we're going to figure that out for you today. However, if through this conversation we find that we aren't able to help you, I want you to know that it's okay for you to say we're not a good fit. But I also want you to hear that it's okay for us to say that we're not a good fit for you. Because even though we are a really great lender, we may not be the best lender for you. And we're fully aware that you have options out there. So I just want you to understand that what we're going to do today is figure out what your best options are. And if you believe that there's a better option out there after we're done talking, by all means, we'll help you and point you in the right direction. But at the same token, if we are going to go through this process and we feel we're not going to meet your expectations, we're going to let you know that we don't think we're going to be a good fit and that it's going to be something we're just going to have to pass on.
Okay.
And the reason you say that is because one of the greatest fears that most buyers have is being sold into something that they don't want. By giving them the permission to reject you and the permission that you can reject them, it puts the entire relationship at a level playing field, that what you're only after is the value of whether or not you can meet their expectations at the highest possible level, and they too have to be honest and open with you to be able to make that determination. Because then you can always come back to it and go, listen, you know what, Mr. and Mrs. Client, as much as I would love to help you, you are really focused on an interest rate and a product that we really aren't able to provide. And as much as we'd love to take you through this process, I don't think we're going to meet your expectations.
Got it.
The permission to reject really filters the entire shopper, rate shopper, the tire kicker out of the mix.
Okay.
It gives you up front, it gives you the freedom to go, this isn't a good fit.
Okay. So in the permission to reject, we're basically laying the foundation that we've built a business on relationships and why that's
Yep.
important to us. And in
Yep.
building a business based on relationships, it makes us very picky on who we work with because we want to make sure that we're able to meet their goals and expectations set forth in our initial conversations.
And the reason we do this, which is now bullet point 3, is because we believe in this thing called the triangle of trust. See, Mrs. Walters, what we're really after is for you to go back to Michelle and say thank you. See, we believe that if we are able to answer your questions, educate you, and consult with you to really figure out what your goals, wants, and needs are, you'll go back to Michelle and say thank you. We realize that after figuring out what your goals, wants, and needs are, if we determine collectively that your best option is not us, we will gladly tell you that because we care more about your relationship with Michelle than we care about getting that loan. But we want you to realize that in doing that, all we ask in return is that you go back to Michelle and say thank you. See, because we believe that our relationship with Michelle is amplified regardless if we do a mortgage for you or not, just by doing what's right by you. That's why we're so picky, and that if we believe that we can't deliver on what you expect of us, it would make more sense for us to simply bow out and give you the honest truth up front than it would be to drag you through the process and have you be disappointed.
Gotcha.
So we've gone through building rapport, we've gone through the permission to reject, we've gone through the triangle of trust.
Okay.
And the next, and I always inputted, and this may not work for your initial consultation the way you guys do it, but I always told my clients that they were going to hate me. I always told my clients that just so, in keeping in with that mindset of the triangle of trust, I also have to be brutally honest with you. Buying a home is not easy. There's a very, very, very intricate process of a lot of people touching your file, a lot of documents to be signed, a lot of paperwork, and frankly, it's a very large project to get this all to come together flawlessly. We do a really good job of it, but like flying on an airplane, they can't tell you that there's never going to be turbulence. All you can hope is that when they see it and predict it, that the pilot comes on and gives you a heads up and tells you to sit down and buckle up so you're protected. It's kind of the way we run our business. The problem is that there will be times when I have to pick up the phone and call you because we've hit the turbulence, and you're going to be frustrated because you'll have already supplied something, or you believe that what you've given us has satisfied it, and what it did was it opened up another can of worms. I fully anticipate at some point you're going to be frustrated with us during the process, and we get it. We understand. That's not what we're after because we care about you going back to Michelle and saying thank you. But it makes more sense to us to tell you this up front, to let you know that we fully expect it and we don't take it personally, but realize that when we do call you and you do get frustrated, we understand why you're frustrated, and we're doing everything in our power to help satisfy the problem and make this process go as easily and as smoothly for you as expected. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Do you know
Are
why
people
I would
still
say that to
using
my
that?
Are people still what?
Why? Because then when you don't do those things, they're happy?
Well, two things. There is no downside. If you tell them they're going to hate you, they're prepared for the worst through the entire process. And if you do have to make the call, you guys can laugh about it, which most of the time, you can. The second thing is that if you do go through the process and it's flawless, you've instantly created a raving fan in the sense that you've set the expectation so low that instead of having to jump over it, you just simply had to step over it, and that client was expecting the worst, and when you call them up and go, guess what? We're done. And they're like, holy cow, you said it was going to be, yep, we told you. We also do a really good job at doing this. Please don't keep us a secret. Remember, I told you our business is counting on people like you to refer us.
Okay. Maybe can I shorten that down, though, make it just not so doom and gloom?
Well, Holly, you can do it however you see fit, but much the way a doctor, whenever you go under the knife, a doctor always tells you that there's a chance that you could die.
I know. Okay.
And
I got it. So what would you say?
Number
4 is doom and gloom?
I wouldn't say doom and gloom. I would say setting expectations.
Okay. I'm just playing.
No. But I mean, the message, yes, in some respects, you need to scare them a little bit because all that does is it elevates your consultative position, it elevates your level of respect to them, and it also increases their level of respect to you because you're not sugarcoating it.
Right.
And when things do go south, you don't have to feel like you've got to come crawling back on your hands and knees. They're anticipating it. And in these
Right.
moments, I actually had a list of 100 things that could go wrong that I would give to my clients as well. So that always helped amplify the relationship even more so, because they were numbered, and I could always go back to that document and go, look at number 38. So it
Right.
always made it easier for me.
Gotcha.
And the
Okay.
last one was the agreement. And the agreement is, you know what, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, as much as we know that you might hate us, but we're going to do a really good job of taking you through this process because we care that you go back to Michelle and say thank you. If we choose to work together, if this ends up being what you decide, we have a simple agreement that we make with every one of our clients. See, we'll promise to deliver on everything that we set forth moving forward. That's our commitment to you, and that's how we believe you'll go back to Michelle and say thank you. But what we ask from our clients is that if we earn the right through the process, and we deliver on everything that we said, and we make this process as easy and as comfortable as possible, we ask for a commitment from our clients to refer us to the people they care about. We count on people like you because investing in time and energy in you means that we get to work with other people just like you, which, and frankly, I would much rather work with people just like you than other people that I don't know, like, and trust. So if we can deliver on everything we're setting forward with you, can you make that commitment to us? And without question, without fail, every single one of them goes, absolutely. I'd be more than happy to refer you somebody I care about if I hear it. And that's why you remind them during the process, please don't keep me a secret.
Okay, got it. Then at what point are you setting the expectation, you know, like, okay, so they say, like, how the process works with us? I guess is that in setting the expectations that would also say you would kind of throw out, you know, this process isn't simple.
Yep.
There are things that could possibly come up, but you know, you have a team of professionals on your side. You know, we've set systems in place to prevent as much of that as possible. You're going to get a status update on Friday. You're going to get a phone call on Thursday. Like, don't you think at that point that's when I need to set that expectation? Because those are other things that other people, they're not going to get from other places. They just don't know that.
When you talk about, after you get done talking about the triangle of trust and you go into setting expectations, I would actually elaborate more on what you just said. I would start into the whole how the team works and eventually lead into, even though we do Tuesday updates, even though we provide you constant, thorough communication, even though we do all these things, and that's when you make it more of a doom and gloom scenario. Okay. While they're still trying to decide whether or not they want to use you or not, it makes no sense for you to paint a rosy picture when you and I both know 9 out of 10 closings usually has something that goes on that prevents the closing from going completely and totally perfect. Fair?
9 out of 10?
And is that, would you say 5
You're
out
saying
of 10?
9 out of 10 have something like that?
I'm saying 9 out of 10 times there's a conversation that has to be had with the client that has something that alters the perception of the client's reality during the process.
No, 1 out of 10 is too many for me.
All right, well, good. Well, then there you go. Then maybe.
But that's right. But I will still do that because I think that there is a lot of merit. Like, you know, I had a closing this morning that the attorney royally screwed up. It wasn't our fault, but guess what? Everybody's calling me. But I had told them on Friday that would happen.
Nail on the head. You hit the nail on the head. But when you're telling them that they're going to hate you, you're taking responsibility for everybody. So what you're saying is, because in the sheet that I gave them, there was title companies, listing agents, selling agents themselves, me, appraisers, home inspectors, pest inspectors, surveyors. All these people have an influence in whether the loan goes by. But at the end of the day, you're still the one that's judged at the end of the closing because you're the one that has the most face time with the client. That's when you tell them, because you're usually the one that has to deliver the news in some respects. You're going to hate me. Even though we provide you all this stuff, there still literally is hundreds of documents that you have to look at, hundreds, maybe 100 signatures between initials and signatures on every document, between homeowners policies to applications to real estate agreements to addendums, whatever. There's going to be a point in time, even though we do an exceptionally great job of managing this process, we fully expect at some point that you're going to hate us and be frustrated with the process. We just want you to know that up front and we understand where the frustration comes from. And so what that does is it's kind of like being empathetic and validating their fears up front so they clearly understand what's going on.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then the agreement is at that point if you want us to move forward. And then, so then after you make the agreement, the commitment to refer you, then you go into the details. And at the end of it, you can go, you know what, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, unfortunately, I think the product that you're looking for just doesn't fit the bill of what we're trying to do, like that, whatever that down payment DPA program was. Remember you and I talked about that one that...
Oh, yeah, I'm never doing that, but yeah.
Yeah, so, but the point is, at the end of the call, you can go, even though we can't do it, I want you to understand that these are, you know, these are a couple of great people you could call or whatever the case is, because at the end of that conversation, you still want that person to go back to Michelle and say thank you so that you can amplify that relationship, which guarantees you a chance to get another referral. Even though you couldn't close that loan, it still meant that you were doing what was right by Michelle, doing what's right by the client, which is why people refer you in the first place, because they don't believe that you're self-centric and more motivated in money than you are about being a great, helpful professional.
Excuse me. Got it.
Bless you.
Thank you.
That's my presentation. I did that religiously on every deal, every client, day in and day out, without fail.
Well, this is exactly what I needed, and what I'm going to do tomorrow is take the recording and go back through it and read. Like, I'm going to write bullet points right now when we get off the phone based on my notes, and then I'm going to listen and add to it and kind of critique it and then go over it with Michelle.
Perfect. That's it. It's that simple. I mean, it's going to take a little bit of practice, but it touches on all the reasons why somebody's going to be attracted to your model and pushes out the people that don't belong there. Because in all fairness, you don't want to take somebody on that's going to be high maintenance and a problem child, and all they're going to do is beat you up on rates and fees. You can reject them at the moment that you feel that way because they agreed to it in the beginning.
Right.
Without damaging the referral source.
Perfect. No, that's what I needed. Okay. Well, then let me do this. I know you'll send me the recording tomorrow.